Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I have 4 books with me today. I brought the same ones that I brought yesterday. Melody Beatty books, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. I'm feeling this one today, I don't know why. And Nightlight by Amy Dean. I'm feeling this one too. So we'll read from those two today and see what they have to say to us. Today is September 14th. The Daily Book of Positive Quotations. Please say something that we need to hear today. Okay. September 14th. Goodness. Goodness is easier to recognize than to define. W.H. Auden. We know people who appear to fit standard definitions of the word good, and yet we don't really like them all that much. We also know people who don't exhibit conventional notions of goodness, but we sense their warmth and generosity from the moment we meet them. We know that they are truly good. Goodness is an inner quality we sense in others and want to have in ourselves. I try to be good to myself and to others. I take as my models people I sense to be truly good. I love this meditation. There's this joke that I have with my husband. I mean, it's not a joke, but like when we're teasing each other, I say to him, and I'll be like, well, I'm a good person. I say it jokingly, you know, but I do believe that, you know, I do believe that. And there was a long time that I didn't believe that about myself. And, you know, when I first got sober and for many, many years, I think we beat ourselves up a lot. I don't know if I necessarily use it as a word to define myself on a daily basis anymore. I think I definitely live more in the action words than the adjectives. I definitely live more in the growing and the recovering and the attempting and trying to be the best version of myself that I can be. I have long ago ceased beating myself up. You know, there's a saying in recovery that we cease fighting anyone and anything, and that includes ourselves, I think, to some degree, you know, that we cease fighting ourselves on trying to be this perfect example of what we imagine in our heads it's supposed to look like, you know. And it's like, for many years, I would beat myself up, you know, if I didn't get this right. It was like not before sobriety. Like, it's so weird to me because before I got sober, it's like I lived my life this way, and then I got sober, and it's like everything changed. It's like almost like with sobriety came this, like, I felt like I was catching up, or I had to prove to the world that I was, like, you know, trying to be a better person. And then over time, what I just realized is I am trying to be a better person, you know? Like, I think I realized that about 4 or 5 years sober, you know? And that it was hard, you know. It was like I went from being a total failure to somebody that was actually succeeding at things, you know, succeeding at having friendships, succeeding at having relationships in my life, succeeding at, you know, keeping a job, succeeding at, you know, treating people nicer than I had in the past, succeeding in, you know, having my own money and keeping my own checkbook and things like that, you know. And those sound like small things, but they were big things to me. You know, my first 30 days sober, just cleaning my apartment, making my bed every day, and making a pot of coffee, like, that was a lot. And not picking up, like, that was a lot. And I think what that taught me was, over time, you know, not to have your expectations too high. We're never going to be these perfect examples, you know. I actually have been blessed in my life to know some people that I believe are truly, truly, like, very, like, good people. Like, really, like, inherently good people. And, you know, I believe my Aunt Kathy was one of those people. And she would do all of these things and never tell anybody about them. I mean, I knew my aunt very well. And I can remember sitting at her funeral, and one of her best friends who lived next door to her, who knew her, like, day in and day out, she talked about all of these things. I mean, I knew that my aunt was very involved in, like, charity and sat on boards and stuff, but, like, I didn't know to what extent she actually was involved, like, in, you know, just all kinds of things. Making sandwiches in her kitchen and taking them to certain families, and, you know, bringing families over for dinner. I mean, I didn't know to what extent. I mean, on and on and on and on, all these things, right? But there are also people that I have met in my life that, like, when they walk in a room, you can just tell there's a peacefulness and a serenity about them, right? There's just a goodness about them. I don't know, maybe they were born that way, you know, like Lady Gaga says. Maybe they were, because they just seem to have been, like, You know, when I think of myself in the world, I think of myself like sitting there, like I always think of, you know, like kind of like if relating ourselves to it in a classroom, right? And I think of myself as like sitting there with like finger paints in like kindergarten class, right? And I'm just like, and I'm trying to make sense of all of it. And like that's how I've always been, you know, like paint on my hands, paint on my face, paint on my shirt, making sense of the world, making a mess at the same time. Like that's how I've always lived my life, right? But there are people that then you turn to your side and you look. I joke about this girl, you know, like, I mean, not just the girl, but there's several of them. But then there's, you know, that person that like was sitting next to you in class and you're like going crazy and you're excited and the colors and whatever, and you look over and this person next to you, this gal, you know, she's painted this perfect picture, you know, like a house, you know, set against perfect, you know, a lawn with like a horizon, and she's 5, you know, and she's got it all figured out, you know, it looks like Sunday in the park or something. And you just like, you start comparing yourself, I think, to that idea. Well, I long ago stopped comparing myself to other people. I long ago realized that when I compare myself to other people, I lose by comparison. You know, my journey is different than somebody else's. What she's painting on her picture is her journey, and what I'm painting on mine is mine. And the other thing that I learned over time too, you know, is not to just even out the score, even out the balance, but one of the things that I learned was that just because her picture looks pretty, and just because her house is placed nicely, and everything looks in order, and the teacher comes over and says, wow, what a wonderful job, does not mean that everything is going okay, you know? And that is one of the things I've learned, and one of the ways that I have stopped beating myself up so hard, but also at the same time that I've been, I don't know, easier on other people, you know? That people, like I remember years ago, I met up with this guy that we had gone to high school together. We were never friends. We never talked. He was never bullied me. He was, you know, but he was extremely popular, very smart, and very athletic. And we were talking, and he said something. We were talking about school. Somehow high school came up, and he said something, and I said, you have no idea how hard school was for me. And he said, why do you assume it was any easier for you than it was for me? Because you have something to that effect. He said, you have no idea what it was like for me, the expectations that people had for me, and on and on and on. And I remember like walking away from that situation and thinking to myself, I really have no idea what his situation was like. None whatsoever, you know? And just because perceivably it looks like on the outside that he had everything, maybe he was struggling 10 times harder than I was. Hell, I don't know, you know? I don't know. And it's made me a little bit more compassionate towards those people whose, you know, lives I don't know. Like, you know, my mom used to say to me, like, my mom hated those Christmas cards where it's like, no offense if I'm stepping on toes, but she hated those Christmas cards where it was like everybody's sitting in a row and they have matching Christmas sweaters on, you know, and like on the letter it says like, Susie got accepted to Pi Phi and she's going to Smith, and, you know, Johnny's a Fiji at Princeton, and, you know, and then John Jr. And then John just got a promotion. He's now the CFO of, you know, what, let's make something up. Some Fortune 500 company, you know. We just downsized from our Connecticut compound and we bought a little home on the ocean in, you know, Delaware. You know, it's always that. And my mom's like, I want to take a picture of an empty chair and send, she said, I can't remember, empty chair or her alone or something. She's like, I want to send out a picture and say, you know, the dog's sick, Peter's back in treatment again, and I'm drinking and our lives are miserable. You know, it's like, but, you know, I can remember my mom would say to me, those people that act like they have this perfect life, they don't. Like, they hide behind that Christmas card. And I think that made my mom bitter because she couldn't. Like, she could not hide behind the Christmas card. No matter how hard she wanted to, she just couldn't wrap it in a pretty box and put a pretty bow around it. She just couldn't. Like, our family was never the family that could, like, hide all of that. You know, we just weren't. I'm laughing because in retrospect, it's just so crazy. You know, like, all it really took was for 2 people to get sober, and then, like, things started kind of, like, magically working out. You know what I mean? But, like, I don't know, at that time we were just like, why are we so unlucky that we have a crazy family? Well, it makes sense in retrospect, you know, but I think goodness is a goal to work towards, but I don't think it's a goal that we ever achieve. Like, I don't, you know, I believe that I'm a good person, but do I think I'm like the best person? No, I have a lot to learn. I have a lot of things to, why do I have my fan right here? I have a lot of things I need to grow and areas I need to learn on, and I will continue, you know? But you know, the thing for me is that, like, at 49 years old, if I'm open to growth and I'm open to change, and like my sponsor always says, are you open to, This is an opportunity for growth. Are you open to it? And if I am open to it, then I have a chance, right? Then I have a chance to be a better version of myself tomorrow than I was today. And that's all we can hope for, right? Like, that's all we can hope for. And stop beating ourselves up, you know? We're never going to be the perfect mother. You know, I have, like, my whole life thought that, like, you know, like when you go to something and it's like you're so excited about your birthday present, and then somebody else like has the perfect birthday present, or you know what I mean? And it's just like I was watching Bridesmaids the other day, and it was that scene where Annie like brings her the box that she makes at the bridal shower, and it's like all the personal stuff and all the things that she loves from her hometown, and then that other girl gives her the trip to Paris. Like, I have felt like that. I mean, that's why that movie is so funny, right? But I have felt like that my entire life. I have been Annie with the box, you know, and I feel like there's always been somebody beside me with a trip to Paris. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, like today I'd rather be Annie with the box than the trip to Paris. I really would, you know? And I think, like, that makes all of us human out there that are like that. And those are the things that I appreciate today as well. I long ago stopped trying to, you know, meet up with where everybody else is at, you know? But I have girlfriends of mine that are just like, God, like, I take my kids to, you know, like, all these events, and it's like I try to be, like, you know, have the orange slices and be the mom that's like bringing cookies and stuff, but there's always that one mom that like looks perfect, hair perfect, everything perfect, kids are there on time, their uniforms are ironed, and then on top of that she has like 20 cookies that are iced and look perfect, like pumpkins or something, you know what I mean? She's like, I just can't do it, you know? No, don't. That's not who you are. And you know what? Your strengths are somewhere else. They're not in that. And that's what makes her happy. That's what makes that woman happy, that she's so good at that, you know? And I'm happy that there are people out there that enjoy that stuff. I'm not that, okay? I'm not that perfect, and I don't claim to be, and, you know, it's just, it's sometimes easier that way, you know? But that was a great meditation. So, all right, I'm gonna get off here and get some stuff done. I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye.